take a trip around the globe to start talking about a bar called Atlas. Huh? No, nothing. Tumbleweed. All right, keep going. I'll get one sometime. One of the most talented bartenders ever to come out of Australia. I think he wrote this himself. Jason Williams is also a highly acclaimed trainer and educator. He's won Australian Bartender or Bar Manager of the Year. Who knows? Unprecedented number of times. He says 5, could be 10. It was finalist for International Bartender of the Year in 2014. How's the heckling? Loving it. Prior to joining Proof and Company, he was Group Bars Manager for the Keystone Group in Sydney, managing training and standards across 26 bars and 5 million bar staff. I'd like to welcome to the stage now. Sorry, no, that was 500 bar staff, 500 bar staff. Just 500. Still, I think so. Yeah. No, but sorry. It is nice to see you again, Widget. And there's something just... Anyway, we'd like to welcome Jason Williams, long-standing friend of Luke and myself, to the stage here to tell us about the Atlas story, creating a world-class bar.
I really regret just sending out the traditional bio. I wish I had to put something a little bit more humble and modest in through. And also, I really, there's no segue after that. Such an amazing speech by Emma. That was a very noble one. This is a bit more self-absorbed, I feel now. But anyway, I hope you find it interesting. Anyway, in 2015, I moved from Sydney, working with Luke and other people in this room, actually, to Singapore to work for a company called Proof & Co. or Proof & Company. We're a spirits distributor, pretty small at the time now. We're across Asia Pacific in 6 countries. And part of our business model is to offer expertise, or what we call creative services. Other people might call that consultancy, but it's very much wrapped up in this idea, this model, integrated model of education, creative expertise services when opening up a bar or education, and then supplier, traditional supplier model. So we do that. We do a lot of small stuff. I've got about 45 projects on the go across multiple countries, but we also do small stuff. If a mum and dad opens up a bar, we can help them with their tea list or their spirits list or their glassware list, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what we do, and it's grown and grown, and now we've got many projects, big and small. But the most substantial one was probably Atlas. This is our kind of motto, by the way. This is what we kind of live and die by every day. The biggest one that you might have heard of, and the reason I'm here, oops, wrong way, is Atlas. Who's heard of Atlas? I don't know how exposed we are in Australia, in Singapore. This was a dream project. I'm not sure, there's a lot of people in F&B here, and I'm sure you've been in a situation where you get given a big budget and get given a dream project, and you get excited, but then at one point you go, holy shit, I actually have to do this. And it was quite daunting. And this was 3 years of my life, almost 4. Late 2015, we sat down and went into this room, and we were briefed by the client, a very wealthy but very awesome client, the Wong family from Hong Kong. They built this building, and they wanted to protect their grandfather's legacy. He had passed away after he built the building, and it was an ode to Art Deco, the Parkview Square building. The locals call it the Batman building or the Gotham building because it looks like something straight out of Gotham City. And he passed away, and they were going to put a Starbucks in, or they wanted to put in a celebrity chef or subdivide it or something like that. And she came to us as a last resort. We also own a bar called 28 Hong Kong Street, which is also a great bar you should check out. And she loved it, and she'd had pretty loose nights there. And as a last option, she came to us and said, would you guys be interested in building this bar? We'd had great success with another bar called Manhattan through our consultancy, and we said, hell yeah, this place is incredible. And so she entrusted us to protect her family's legacy. She's under a lot of pressure from the family, but also bring her grandfather's legacy back to life. And we spent 3 odd years working on this bar, and we've gotten some success. A couple of weeks ago, it was awarded World's Best International Cocktail Bar and World's Best Spirit Selection at Tales of the Cocktail in New Orleans, hence the title on the program. But how did we approach it? And that's what my 7 minutes or whatever I've got left is going to be taken up by. We did everything here. We designed the uniforms, did the music brief, measured out the tables, ran all the simulations. I ran a kitchen tender process. I hope to never do that ever again. I'd never done a lot of that stuff before, but we don't call ourselves consultants because we do a massive deep dive into all the minutiae details and all the bigger picture stuff of the venue. And we did absolutely everything, but we come up with a system called 20 pillars, and we like to identify the 20 pillars that we want to work on and then nail down into the 4 to 6 leadership positions or leadership pillars that we really want to focus on. And you all do that instinctively already. When you guys walk into a bar, straight away you're like, this carpet's sticky, the music's too loud, the lighting's not right, the food's cold. So you're already analyzing it instinctively, being in this industry. We just put a little bit of terminology and some kind of framework around it so we could easily convince our clients to do what we say to do. And so the 4 pillars I want to talk about today that we decided to focus on was design and decor. It was already a stunning venue that was already there. So it was remiss of us to ignore that. We spent most of the money on improving the design and decor, improving the lighting schematics and the FF&E and stuff like that. And I'm going to show you a picture in a second. The concept was a big one for us as well. So the family used to own the Battersea Power Station in London, which is A, gives you an indication of their wealth, but B, gives you an indication of their love for all things Art Deco, Art Nouveau, architecture, design, and engineering. It's also a global beacon of Art Deco design. And so the building is kind of inspired by that particular building. And it has huge, big Atlas statues in each corner of the room, which is the Greek mythological god or creature who holds the world above his shoulders. This is the picture of Atlas. And so we wanted to do a deep dive into the European traditional origins of Art Nouveau or Art Deco, not the Americanized version that you might see that's been really celebrated in cocktail culture since the early 2000s with flappers and speakeasies and secret knocks and mustaches and shit like that. But we wanted to look at what was happening in Paris in 1925. People were celebrating the lost generation, the bright young things. Some of the most famous cocktail books in the world were published in this era. The Savoy cocktail book, The Artistry of Mixing Drinks from the Ritz in Paris, all in the 1930s. So conceptually, we wanted to make sure we stuck to that concept. And so concept was a leadership pillar. So everything that you see at Atlas, whether it's the visual identity, the interior design, obviously, the drinks, the music, the furniture, the uniforms, everything is inspired by 1925, this Parisian exhibition that was a celebration of Art Deco. Without me. That's okay. So just a few things I can point out here. Obviously, there's huge, big ceilings, massive big tower. We've got beautiful Egyptian exoticism murals. We've got these beautiful Edgar Brandt kind of balconies up the top. There's some really colorful stuff going on here. It's not really modest or humble. It's ostentatious. It's crazy. It's out there. It's open from 10 a.m. in the morning to 2 a.m. 6 days a week. We do breakfast. We do lunch. We do a really raging, successful business lunch. And then we sell a shitload of 3 things, which brings me to the drinks pillar, which we focused on. Wrong way, sorry. So gin is what we're famous for. So we've got 1,400 bottles of gin and counting. We have our own gin. We made a gin with Archie Rose. We collaborated with some amazing gin brands, including 4 Pillars. 4 Pillars, by the way, were one of our biggest supporters early on. I gave Stuart or Sammy a call, and a week later we had FedEx cases of 4 Pillars to us. So we've always had a lot of support from 4 Pillars. We do our own custom gin now with St. George out of the Bay Area in San Francisco. We've got 1,400 other bottles of gin, but I'm going to get to that in a second. Champagne. We looked at that period of time and realized that people were drinking a lot of champagne. It's a very celebratory space. So we wanted to do light cocktails like gin and tonic and martinis, but also champagne. So the family also have an immense collection of champagne in Hong Kong as well. And so we got to get a lot of their champagne on commission. We've currently got 320 bottles. Plus, at the base of the tower, there's a walk-in champagne room, which has got just some ridiculous champagnes in it. It's all gold-cladded, walk-in chiller. It's pretty ridiculous, but awesome. And then the third leadership position within the drinks pillar was cocktails. And so we do a lot of cocktails, very European in styles. There's no fusion. There's no American ingredients. There's no Singapore Asian fusion or anything like that. They're all European styled, minimalistic garnishes, modernist techniques, fresh ingredients, house-made ingredients, and stuff like that. We do about 300 cocktails a day. And we go through about 100 to 150 different gin bottles per day as well. Here's just a token picture of some gins for you. We've got about 60 vintage gins dating back to 1900, which is our oldest bottle of gin. We've got a collection of 58 Genevas, which is ridiculous. No one drinks those, but they're like the precursor to Geneva. The cocktails. The third leadership pillar, or fourth leadership pillar, was around service. And this one I'm really proud about because we have the venue, we have the budget, we have the drinks, we have the high-profile talent and stuff like that. But we needed to mitigate all that through really warm hospitality, because we didn't want this place to be a sense of occasion kind of place. We wanted people to feel comfortable here, and we wanted people to come here all the time. And so these are the brand values and also some of the service values here. Yes, we want to be glamorous. Yes, we want to be discerning in terms of our drinks offering, but we also want to be gracious and authentic as well. And so the situation I always talk about, what I talked about with the staff when we did the education, is that people always seem to walk into a fine dining restaurant or a library or a church, and they instinctively, well, maybe this is me, but instinctively tuck your shirt in, fix your posture, hush your tone of voice, stop swearing, and kind of behave all of a sudden. And people did do that still when they walk into this space. And there's also like this automatic reputation on about price pointing. It's so expensive and you can't get in. They're also pretentious. They're all wankers. None of it's true, but we've done a lot around those particular topics. So people, when they walk in, there's a high five, there's a handshake, there's a special little amuse-bouche or a little cheeky champagne or something like that. So when people leave, instead of feeling formal and sterile and think that we're pretentious, there's a high five and there's a smile, and they're going to come back and say positive things about this place and have a positive feeling towards the guest experience, and at the end of the day, the brand as well. And that's really worked. These are some of our staff, the people that actually execute all this, put a lot of work into all the these pillars, but they need to execute it. So we've done an immense amount of training. There's lots of stories to be told within this particular venue. We've got people from all around the world. Obviously, a lot of staff from Southeast Asia, but then we've got lots of PRC staff. We've got some American staff. The GM is Dutch, and so we've got this melting pot of cultures that bring different backgrounds and levels of experience and knowledge, but also different cultural sensitivities. And so all these people combined, we've created this great nucleus of a team that really brings the venue to life and has made it a success. So I really hope to host you in Singapore and at Atlas soon, and the martinis are on me. Thanks.